before we introduce the star of the program, we do have to remind everyone that this show is brought to you by FightSaga.com. Guys, for all the latest boxing news and exclusive content from yours truly, please go frequent and make your homepage FightSaga.com, your centralized hub for all the latest boxing news, linking in various boxing news wires around the world. But guys, this would not be an episode of Warwick Radio on Sunday evening without the counsel of the always knowledgeable 5-decade fight trainer, Mr. James Gogue. James, how the heck are you, man?
Hey, Joe, I'm doing good. We're gonna have a good show tonight because it was a great night of boxing until Canelo fought last night, and the fight this week coming up. Interesting matchup on Showtime Championship boxing between somebody I've known since little kid, Brandon Figueroa, and that Luis Juice Nery, that PED, that chronic PED user.
Indeed, Brandon Figueroa versus Luis Nery for the WBC and WBA Super Bantamweight Championship, and we'll break that down the only way Gogue knows how in the back half of the show. But guys, to start things off, boy, we're going to recap the final Saturday of Cinco de Mayo week, which featured, it was a unification showdown for the WBC, WBO, and WBA Super Middleweight titles in front of a crowd of over 73,100. And boy, they witnessed a fine one. So will Canelo Alvarez stop forcing Billy Joe Saunders to retire in his corner after 8 full rounds of action. Canelo Alvarez improves his record to 56 wins, 1 loss, 2 draws. That's questionable. 38 knockouts. Billy Joe Saunders suffers his first career loss as a professional, and he goes down to 30 wins, 1 loss, 14 knockouts. Gogue, it played out exactly like you thought it would.
Yeah.
Billy Joe Saunders with that awkward style, giving him some stylistic issues, and having some success. But as soon as Canelo bit down on the gum shield and found that range, it was all over. Your thoughts on last night's action, my friend?
Well, like we talked about it last week, the key to Canelo, winning the fight is being himself, applying intelligent pressure, closing that distance, you know what I mean? And once he got close, he would know what to do, Canelo, yesterday, he targeted the body early, especially the lead left hooks to the liver, and the straight right hands to the body, straight right hands to the chest, the sweeping right hooks to the body of Saunders. When he got close, he didn't try to go head hunting because he knows Saunders is very tricky and slippery. And when a guy's tricky and slippery, it's hard to get a good hit him with a good flush shot early on. So he had a good game plan going on early on. Closing that distance as best he could, cutting off the ring, targeting the body. Oh yeah, the sharp counter uppercuts he was connecting on Saunders and everything early on. Every time Saunders would throw, he'd miss, and Canelo would just time him. With his cat quick reflexes, he would see those punches coming and catch him with them uppercuts and everything. And just eventually just the pressure. Old saying in boxing, pressure breaks pipes. Eventually would break Saunders' pipes. You could see before he got knocked out, that pressure was starting to slow him down and everything. And Canelo was, he was getting in rhythm. He was gaining, in the past, Canelo, as the fight went on, Canelo would lose stamina, lose energy. But now, it's fighting more at his natural weight where he ain't got to suck weight, suck the energy out of him to make weight, where he's strong going into the second half, back half of a fight and down the stretch. And you can see that pressure was getting to Saunders, and all of a sudden, you watch the McGill Cotto fight or the Golovkin fight. When them guys made the mistake of lunging in with the punch, big mistake. Canelo has, tremendous reflexes. He'll lean back just a little to make you miss, then he'll counter with a explosive uppercut. And that's what he did with Saunders. Saunders tried to lean in with that he lunged in throwing that lead hook, and Canelo just leaned back a little and countered with that right uppercut, right on his right eye. So, but Joe, like I said, everything, but that went to plan. How the fight was gonna play it off, it's, in my mind, I've been in this shit long enough. I got a good idea on how these fights play out. And Canelo, like I said, everybody's like, oh, he never fought a skilled. He hasn't fought a skilled southpaw that moves since Lara or Mayweather. Oh, I heard all that shit. But, dude, that was back then. Now he's a lot better fighter. He's a lot smarter. He's a lot mature. He knows how to handle those situations in a fight now, okay? And you saw it last night. It didn't bug him at all, man. He wasn't worried at all, man. Canelo right now, he's fighting at his peak, in his prime, and it's going to be hard to beat him. I don't see anybody beating him.
Yeah, we heard a lot of pre-fight gamesmanship from Billy Joe Saunders, demanding a 22-foot ring. And, well, Canelo conceded, said, it's not going to matter. You can make the entire floor of the AT&T Stadium my ring, and I'll still catch you and knock you out. Nothing phases this guy at age 30. Yeah, he's in his prime, Gogue. It almost seems like all of the pre-fight banter and gamesmanship was all for Saunders' benefit, it seems. I think he was trying to convince himself that he's not just an opponent and he was a legitimate champion here to win the fight. And to his credit, boy, he put forth an excellent effort. Gogue, how did you score the fight? Because the official scorecards for 8 rounds were 6 rounds to 2
Joe?
In favor of Canelo Alvarez and 5 rounds to 3 from Tim Cheatham. So you had 2 scores of 78-74 and 1 score of 77-75 with Canelo leading on all 3 at the time of the stoppage. How did you see the fight score? Do you agree with that?
I had Billy Joe Saunders winning like 2 rounds of the whole, how long the fight lasted, 8 rounds.
I saw it just like Max DeLuca as well as Glenn Feldman as well, sir.
Yeah, because you know what? What's the name was throwing a lot, Saunders was throwing all those punches, but they weren't hitting Canelo flush. Canelo was blocking a lot of them.
A lot of them are probing shots.
That how you score a professional fight. You know what I mean? It's not the amateurs.
Indeed.
Keeping your hands busy, you'll win. No, this the pros is you got to connect with good, effective, clean punches. And he wasn't landing solid on Canelo. Oh, hell no. Canelo was making a miss a lot. He was blocking a lot. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, maybe someone should teach Chris Mannix how to score a fight.
He's clueless, okay? I'm sick and tired of watching these motherfuckers, man, that call these fights that don't know what the fuck they're talking about. I'm sick of it. Guys like Chris, that whole DAZN shit, the people that were calling the fight or the people in the background, you know what I mean? That one guy, the clowns, man. They had no idea what the fuck they were talking about and everything. Man, it's like listening to these motherfuckers on Twitter, with their fucking opinions. That's how much they know about boxing.
Yeah, you know what? If they're going to partake and get the opportunity to be on a live broadcast, they need to start on a platform like Ring USA, the cards that they're doing to learn, or maybe FS1 or the old Friday Night Fights, something at that level. Because this is a huge platform, Gogue, okay? And boxing fans are used to seeing the best, going back to Steve Albert and Chaz, right? I mean, we're used to Jim Lampley and Harold Letterman. We're used to Larry Merchant, Emmanuel Stewart, Roy Jones. Even George Foreman wasn't that bad. Yeah, if it's going to be on that platform, I really enjoyed the addition of Carl the Cobra Frotch. He's always been very insightful and did a great job for Sky Sports before. I also enjoyed listening to Roy Jones Jr. once again. It brought back memories of HBO. But, yeah, they need to do something, Gogue. Chris Mannix, and I hate to say this, but Sergio Mora, as much as I love the Latin Snake, very dear friend of mine, yeah, he's not up to snuff. He's not on that level yet. DAZN needs to do something fast because they're cheapening the broadcast, in my opinion. Your final thoughts on that before we talk about the future of Canelo Alvarez, sir?
No, let's move on. It was, like I said, it was a great night of boxing. Just a pre-fight fight entrance. It was just fabulous. Got the place excited, got the place rocking. The energy level was, sky high, and all of a sudden Canelo came out and the fight started. Boy, yeah, that's how it's entertainment, okay. And Canelo right now is, he's a top dog in boxing right now, okay. And the Mexican fans that support him, you know what I mean. Like I always said, without the Mexican fans, boxing would be dead here in the USA.
Indeed, and we'll talk more about the pros and cons of the Matchroom Sport event on my show with Lee later on this evening, because I don't want to waste Gogue's time with that. So, Gogue, what's next for Canelo Alvarez? Obviously, his plan, as well as promoter Eddie Hearn, want to completely unify the 4 titles in the super middleweight division with Caleb Plant, the current IBF title holder. What are the chances of that happening, sir? In your mind, please be as candid as you'd like.
Well, you got 2 roadblocks. Number 1, Al Heyman, who is the biggest roadblock in boxing. But you know what? If a fighter really wants to fight, I don't give a fuck if it was Al Heyman, King, Arum that was promoting the fighter. They make the fight happen. Okay? It's the fighter. And now, if this fucking Plant, who's been a champion for 2 years and has fought absolutely nobody, okay, since he's been a champion, he's fought nothing but stiffs. He's done nothing to improve his status as being a well-known world champion, okay? He's fought nobody. Now, if he really wants that fight, he can make it happen. All he got to do is say, Al, give me the best deal possible. I'll fight him. If I got to go to the zone, let's make it happen. But to me, we'll see, man. You know what I mean? We'll see, because, Joe, I'm just going by his track record. I mean, I don't know the guy. Maybe he's a nice guy or whatever, but I'm just going by his track record, okay? To me, he's scared to take those chances. He dares to be great, okay? Actions speak louder than words. I don't care what that motherfucker says. I want Canelo, da, 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 da. Okay, actions always speak louder than words.
Indeed, brother. And since we've actually seen, since the Deontay Wilder-Tyson Fury 2 fight, I don't know if Al Heyman has been interested in any other cross-promotional events or one-offs like this. In my opinion, Gogue, Al Heyman might price himself out of this by wanting to force Canelo into a 2 or 3 fight deal like he did with Manny Pacquiao. In my opinion, that's not going to be sufficient. If he doesn't just want to have a 1-fight deal for Plant, I don't think it's going to happen. And I don't think Al's going to go for that, relinquishing his only title holder with a one-off, right? In my opinion, it's only going to happen if Canelo agrees to a 2 or 3 fight deal, fighting Charlo and possibly Jared Hurd next or someone like that. That's just my opinion. It's too much for Al Heyman to lose. He doesn't have very many
Canelo
champions
calls the shots,
around that weight division.
Fuck Al. Canelo calls the shots, okay? It's what he wants.
Right. That's
now,
right.
Al tries to be all this and that. Oh, fuck it. They'll move on. They'll find somebody else. Canelo calls the shots. Al ain't got no leverage in this, okay? He's the man.
That's right. That's right. But Al Heyman doesn't realize that. Al Heyman and PBC are going to do what's best for Al Heyman and PBC. They've already tried luring Canelo before he signed that multi-fight deal with Eddie Hearn. They tried to entice him with a 3-opponent fight deal already, guaranteeing him $25 million per fight plus pay-per-view upside, and he turned it down because he did not want that. He wants a 1-fight off. So we'll see if Al Heyman changes his tune. It's going to be interesting. So what's next for Billy Joe Saunders? From what Eddie Hearn stated earlier today, he is probably just getting out of surgery right now in Fort Worth. Apparently, it was a quadrilateral break. It is orbital bone, and it was going to be a 3 or 4 hour surgery that started this afternoon at 5 p.m. We wish Billy Joe Saunders the best of luck. moving forward. But in your opinion, Gogue, one, in retrospect, was the stoppage merited by trainer Mark Tibbs? Or do you think Billy Joe Saunders deprived the fans of a clean knockout?
Joe, I don't know. I've been saying this. I sound like a broken record. I say it every week. The fighters nowadays, they ain't got the mental toughness and resiliency to fight through adversity, through pain, like the fighters in the past, okay? You know, as soon as they get, that's the cop-out nowadays, man. As soon as they get a closed eye or a really badly bruised eye and it starts swelling up, they start using the, broken orbital bone. Maybe it was true. I don't know. You could say anything out there and tell the fans this shit, to make them save face and everything. Okay, yeah, I'll let them slide. But
that is true.
I don't know, man. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's true or not. But I'm just saying that the fighters in the past, they're more resilient. They were more mentally tough. It was expected that when adversity struck in the ring, when you least expected it, you fought through that adversity, okay, no matter how tough it was, okay? You just bit down and forged ahead, okay? It's called resiliency, mental intestinal fortitude. I don't see that shit in these motherfuckers nowadays, especially these young little bitches coming up, you know what I mean, that talk all that shit and say how tough they are on Instagram. Like I said, talk is cheap, baby. Actions always speak louder than words, man. And I question the toughness of these guys. And God forbid if they lose a fight, you don't see them. They go lost, they go missing in action. You don't see them no more. You know what I mean? For a while, they kind of like look at all the fighters that once they lose a fight, you're God dang, man. You know what I mean? It's like you know what I mean? One of the most devastating experiences in their life, and they go into hiding. And I mean, hey, you lose, big fucking deal. You move on. You learn from your loss. You get better, okay? These fighters nowadays, they just don't have that resiliency in them. I'm just being 100, being in the business since the 80s, and I know what a real fighter is, okay? I've had some real tough hombres that fought through the toughest circumstances, whatever that square ring presented, and they fought, and they persevered. They were resilient. They had that mental intestinal fortitude, okay? Now these motherfuckers, as soon as it gets tough, the first thing you do is you see their nuts shrink, okay? Their balls shrink, okay? They don't want to bite down, okay? I'm not saying everybody. I'm not saying everybody like that Inoue. He didn't even know. He
broke his orbital bone 2 years ago as well.
But,
yep.
Yeah, but he didn't bitch and complain and quit. He kept fighting like a motherfucking warrior supposed to fight, okay? But you got guys like Daniel Dubois. He quit like a bitch. And there's a lot of others out there. I don't want to mention names.
Let me ask you
I don't
this,
want to mention names because I don't want to break their fucking heart.
Excuse me. Let me ask you this, Gogue. How demoralizing is it when you saw Sanders land some really sharp, compact left hands on the inside and they didn't seem to affect Canelo? How demoralizing is that for a fighter when you're landing your best shots, they're clean, you're scoring, but your opponent keeps on closing the distance and applying pressure. He doesn't retreat. You think that had anything to do with Saunders electing to quit on his stool?
Joe, pressure always breaks fights in boxing, okay? Sanders had the biggest problem Sanders had going into the fight. I think I've mentioned it. He doesn't know how to fight in the pocket. He's all range and distance and cutie pie. Finesse. I call him a fencer, not a fighter. He doesn't know how to, sit there in the pocket and mix it up. Okay? Sit there in the pocket. Don't move. Man on man, mix it up. Pernell Whitaker, perfect example, knows how to do that. Stays in the pocket, works effectively, then pivots around you or moves around you. Saunders doesn't know how to do that. God forbid, when he gets in the pocket, all he wants to do is grab and hold you or hug and try to tie you up. He don't know. See, in order to fight Canelo, man, you could try to box him all you want, but eventually he's going to get that distance he wants. And if you don't know how to fight him in the pocket and get his attention and respect, he's going to run you out of the fucking ring. His pressure is going to break your pipe. And Saunders, he's been a pro, he's been a, pro a long time, and he still don't know how to fight in the pocket. It's something his coaches never taught him. I don't know who's coaching him now. But them English coaches, they don't, a lot of them don't know how to coach inside fighting. They're more like distance and range. So nobody's taught him how to fight in the pocket skillfully. You can't say he don't have the talent. He's got the talent and ability to do it, but he don't just
absolutely.
He don't have the skill set. That's something you got to teach and everything.
And it doesn't come overnight. Yeah.
No. It takes. You know what? You should start learning these skill sets when you turn pro. Okay, in the 4 round. That's why they're called developmental fights. 4, 6, 8 rounders. They're developmental fights. They're developmental fights for you to get the experience. Get experience when you turn pro, fighting in the with small gloves, no headgear. Getting experience going them rounds, getting the experience fighting different styles, different levels of fighters. But most importantly is the skill set you learn in the gym. See, that's where the fight's fucking won. It's won in the gym, okay, and how you prepare. The skill sets that are taught to you by your coach, and the habits you develop, okay, when you learn these skill sets, okay. So when you'll see it when they start sparring, okay. You can hit the bags, the pads, the shadow box, and all that shit, but you can teach them all that shit, all the shit you want. But when it's time to spar and they're not doing what you're taught, okay, then that means it hasn't sunk in yet. They haven't learned it yet. But, it takes time. As you learn these skill sets, okay, over time, okay, over a series of fights, you'll see the fighter get more comfortable with what you're trying to teach him, especially inside fighting. Okay, you got a guy that never done that before. All of a sudden he's learning it. It's like learning a new language. It's going to take time for him to absorb, the knowledge I'm trying to give to him on how to fight in the pocket. Then eventually, because you're practicing it every day, do repetition. What did they say? Repetition is the mother of all learning, or something like that. So the more you do that, the more you're going to learn. Okay, these skill sets are going to. Next thing, when you do it over and over and over in the gym daily, they become habits and it becomes second nature. Then you'll start seeing them do it in the sparring. Okay, then you ain't got to tell them; they're doing it automatically because over time these skill sets have have been reinforced into their DNA of their body, their mind. Okay, their subconscious, and physically you're seeing it. They're performing, but it takes you got to start off with it's best to start off with the early stages of their career, because if you don't learn this shit going through the 4s, the 6, the 8 rounders, by the time you get to the 10 rounders, now you're gonna keep doing the shit. You're gonna keep doing the shit that you were taught. Now Saunders never learned it. You can see he never learned it in the 4s. He never learned it in the 6. He never learned it in the 8s. His coaches, I don't know who the fuck they are, who he had, who's been coaching him since he's been a pro. He's never learned it. You can see, Joe. Look, Joe.
Yeah.
You're a reflection of you're a reflection out there. When you go out there and fight, you're a reflection of what your coaches teach you. Plain and simple. The habits he instills in you, the skills sets he instills
a lot of it
in you.
also
the mental attitude he instills in you, Joe. You are a reflection on everything.
That's right.
So
and
when
please explain the importance then.
Joe. When you go out there fight night, hey, okay, you put it all together, and you can see that. You can see the work of the coach, your coach, and what he taught you. Okay, bottom line.
Indeed, a lot of it is matchmaking when you're coming up also. If you don't pair them up with guys who are going to give you any resistance, trainer isn't going to understand, or your fighter isn't going to understand what his shortcomings are. That's why there's so much credit given to Bruce Trampler and Brad Goodman, the best matchmakers in the business at top rank. They'll put you in with the specific resistance, specific hard-nosed fighters who are going to give you some resistance so you can understand what you need to work on in the gym. Talk about how important that is, and it's seemingly a lost art in this age of promoters who coach talent.
What they're missing. I can see all that gym. I can see all the skill sets in the gym they're missing, but good sparring. Okay, I don't need for that. I don't need to wait to the fucking fight. when I'm in the gym and I can see, okay, he's missing this, he's missing this. Well, good sparring is going to tell me everything about what they're missing. Okay, I don't need. That's why it's good to have good sparring in the gym, because you could see all the skill sets he's missing. Then you could work on them in the gym before you go to a real fight. So when you go to a real fight, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? You're going to have these skill sets, okay? That when you're fighting a tough pressure fighter, you'll be able to handle them, because you develop the skill sets in the gym fighting tough pressure fighters in the gym. Okay, so matchmaking and all that, that's good. That's good. It is good, but tough sparring, that does the job too. That tells me where a fighter's deficient in.
Indeed. So the rest of your results on the pay-per-view portion of the DAZN broadcast. The opening bout of the night, Frank Sanchez, makes Nagy Aguilera quit. Crime in Italy. He just took off after 6 rounds of action, Gogue. For a semi-retired fighter like Nagy Aguilera, who never seemed to get the most of himself in the gym, and to the dismay of all of his handlers back in the day, this guy never got the most of himself. So were you surprised when you saw him quit?
Hey, next, I don't want to talk about that motherfucker, man. I mean, that's a waste of our. I think our show has a lot of value. I think our show has a lot of value. Then when we got to bring up shit like that, it just degrades our show. I don't want to talk about that motherfucker.
Very good. We'll just go through the results then. Suleiman Kishkoko from France gets the victory over Kieran Conway. And in your co-main event of the evening, Elvin Soto reclaimed his WBO junior flyweight title over the game and gallant 37-year-old Katsunari Takayama. Boy, in a very dubious stoppage. Gogue, were you surprised when you saw Lawrence Cole wave the fight off?
It's Lawrence being Lawrence, making bad decisions, okay? Because, he has a track record of doing stupid shit in the ring. I like Lawrence, okay? I mean, I like him. I know him. But I remember when we fought, I'll give you an example. I had Jemrich Jaka, the Filipino guy. We fought Juan Manuel Marquez back in, way back there, I think 2006. And, my guy, it was a good, hard physical fight. And, and he got head-butted a couple times by my guy, which caused him cuts. And he's in the corner, it showed him in the replay.
I remember that.
Juan Manuel Marquez, hey, you're up on the scorecard, meaning, he was telling them. He didn't tell him.
Yeah, he was suspended for that.
He was insinuating that, hey, if you want to stop the card, if you want to stop the fight, you're up on the scorecards. He told him that shit.
I remember.
What are you doing telling the
He was
fighter,
suspended shortly thereafter.
You're up on the scorecards, insinuating that he could stop the fight, okay? That's stupid. He got suspended for that, by the way.
Yep, he got suspended.
That's stupid and this typical Lawrence Cole bullshit. I mean, I like Lawrence, but he just makes some he makes bad calls and they're bad decisions and everything. But it's just Lawrence being Lawrence.
So there are your results from this past Saturday night from the AT&T Stadium, home of the Dallas Cowboys in Arlington, Texas. Now we look forward to, or in the back half of the show, we look forward to this weekend in Carson, California, the best venue for prize fights, in my opinion, where you're going to see in the main event of the evening, Luis Nery defending his WBC junior featherweight title against Brandon Figueroa. Can you say this is a unification bout, Gogue? Because are you recognizing Brandon Figueroa as the WBA champion?
No. The WBA champion is that guy, the Southpaw. That guy that's on the juice. What's his name? The Southpaw guy. That Uzbekistan guy, whatever his name is.
Yep.
What's that guy's name, Joe? I don't even know. The guy that beat Danny Roman.
I'm looking, brother. Hold on. Yeah, he beat Daniel Roman.
I mean, it's fucking ridiculous. There's so many champions out there. I can't even fucking figure it out who the fuck is who.
Yeah, it's Akhmadaliev.
Oh,
He's from Uzbekistan. He's 9-0 with 6 knockouts. Yep.
Yeah. He's the WBA champion. The WBA, they just created this mess with all these bullshit fucking belts, okay? Now, Brandon, I know him as a kid. What was he? Probably 11 years old. So, this is his first big fight. This is a real title fight, okay? If he wins this title, I'd give him his props. He's a real world champion, okay? He's a real WBC world champion, okay? This is a real title, Joe, okay? It ain't no bullshit, fabricated WBA regular, super, interim, or whatever. This is for the real. This is for all the marbles, the real McCoy, and he's fighting that who's that? That Juice, the guy that's on the Juice all the time, that PED freak, Luis Nery. That motherfucker, man, has been caught like, 2 or 3 times for being on that shit, and they still allow this motherfucker to fight. Now, all they do is slap the bitch on the wrist. They don't give him a indefinite suspension. And guess what, Joe? You think that's going to deter him from not using that shit? He's going to be on that shit again when he fights Brandon. You know what I mean? He's going to be on that shit. You know what I mean?
Yep. Well, thank you for the intro, Gogue, as you only know how. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape for the title challenger, the heartbreaker, Mr. Brandon Figueroa. He's going to come to the ring at the tender age of 24, fights out of the orthodox stance, likes to block shots with his face, fights at 5'9" tall in the center of the ring, fights line a 72-inch reach. That's lengthy for a super bantamweight. From Weslaco, Texas, he's going to come to the ring with a record of 21 wins, 0 losses, 1 draw, 16 big wins coming by way of knockout. Aside from having a defense like Jaime Munguia, what do you like about Brandon Figueroa, sir?
His toughness, his competitive spirit, switch-hitting pressure fighter, okay, Joe? He switches back and forth. Volume,
just like his brother.
His volume of combinations he throws at you, okay? That's about it, Joe. He fights with a high competitive spirit, okay? He's tough. I think, if he gets hurt in the fight, I think he has that ability to overcome. I know he's been training with Joel Diaz over there in Palm Springs, and to getting himself in the best shape possible. That's his strength, Joe. He's a switch-hitting pressure fighter. His best work is in the pocket, okay? He just tries to overpower you. He really doesn't have he's not a multi-dimensional fighter, Joe. He's a one-dimensional fighter. Now, for this fight, I think he's going to box. You know what I mean? Keep everything at range and distance, because this bitch, Nery, he's going to be on that shit. And, you want to be at the safest distance possible so you don't get hit with that motherfucker who's probably, going to be high on that shit. So, I think he's going to box from distance, range, using his length, okay, circling him, using his footwork. But, Joe, I've never seen Brandon box from a distance.
Never.
From an extended period of time. And to do it 12 rounds? Oh, come on, man. That's, like I said, Joe, you're a creature of your habits. All of a sudden, you're not. It's going to be hard for him. All of a sudden, it's going to be hard for him just to, do something that's not really natural for him. Because in order to be a boxer, Joe, to learn your range and distance, if you've never done it before, it's just like fighting inside. It's a skill set. It takes time. It takes a series of fights. It's something you should learn from the early 4-round stage. Okay, so you know what I mean. So you go through the 4s, the 6, the 8. So by the 10-round stage, you're proficient at fighting from range and everything. You just don't go into the 10-round fight and decide to change up. Now, I'm going by percentages. 90% of the time it doesn't work. 10% of the time it does. That a guy will, he learns a new skill set. Then one fight, he'll be able to extra game plan. I'll give you an example. Humberto Chiquito Gonzalez, when he fought Michael Carbajal. The first time they fought, Gonzalez was just a straight-ahead brawler. Try to overpower him, try to knock him out, and he almost did until he got knocked out. He switched trainers to Nacho Beristain. Boy, what a complete makeover. Complete makeover from a straight-ahead brawler to a boxer, a technician, a guy that utilized range, counter-punching, feints, and all that stuff. He became a more intelligent. In one fight, I was like, whoa, shit. Nacho was able to turn that motherfucker around in one fight, and that's rare. And that's one of the rare times I've seen that. Majority of times when a fighter tries to change his style, what I'm trying to say, Joe, it's good for a few rounds, you know. Then as the fight goes on, he'll go, you know, he'll go back to what he normally does. And that's what I think is going to happen in the Figueroa fight. He'll box him in this and that, and maybe build up an early lead. But when that fight gets in the fourth, the fifth, the sixth round, nah, man, he's going to start getting inside, and it's going to start becoming a physical fight. You know what I mean? And that might be a big mistake because this Nery could punch. Straight left hand, them uppercuts, the right uppercuts, the left uppercuts, and that big right hook of his, man. And Figueroa, like I said, his defense, he's an offensive machine, but he's fighting at the level. Guess what? You better have your defense. He's fighting at the highest level possible now, Joe. And I always believe when you fight at the highest level possible, your defense got to be better than your offense. Okay? So I can see it, you know, Brandon boxing and all that stuff, being cute and, you know, finesse, keeping range and distance. But can he do that for 12 solid rounds and keep guys that's on the juice off him? You know what I mean?
We'll find out on Saturday night, Gogue.
Eventually it's going to get back. I really believe it's going to get in the pocket. And you know, me, Brandon, like I said, his offense is fine. He can, me personally, sometimes he just goes wild and throw punches. He needs to, you know, just settle down a little bit more in the pocket where he can, you know, pick his shots better and make every punch count. It's just instead of throwing a bunch of punches that, you know, 50, 60, 70% don't count, you know, and be more proficient. But the main thing in the pocket is defense got to be nice and tight, meaning he's got to, how do you have good defense in the pocket, Joe? It starts with a good fundamental stance. Set your feet good. Don't square up. Don't lean in. You square up, you're going to get hit with uppercuts. You lean in, you're going to get hit with uppercuts, okay? You square up, you're going to get hit with left hand, okay? Keep them hands up nice and tight by his face. Protecting high guard defense. Winky right. Marlon Starling, okay? A nice and high guard. You know, them punches ain't hit you flush and everything, okay? And that's the fundamental. That's the basic fundamental foundation of good defense. Nice, solid stance in the pocket. Keep set good. That back leg set good with weight on it so that juice motherfucker can't push him back. And hands up, elbows tucked in. The lead shoulder should be pointed, body at a 45-degree angle so you're not squared up on the inside. Okay, Joe? And hands up nice and tight. And, you know, me, if I was Brandon too, I'd catch and counter. You know, instead of just being an offense, throwing punches, catch and counter. Just set there, wait for near your throw, catch, counter back with some punches. Counter back with 2 or 3 shots, 4 or 5. Catch and counter. You know, catch his right hook, counter with, you know, catch his right hook. And now in the inside, Brandon likes to fight from the southpaw position 90% of the time. Okay, when he's in the inside, he likes to fight. And that's where he feels more comfortable. But when he's in the inside, you know, when Nery throws that right hook, just catch it, you know, with his left hand and counter back with the left hook, with the right uppercut, you know, back with the right hook, get back to the straight left hand. Just counter back with 2, 3, 4 punches on the inside, catch and counter and everything. And, break this fucking juice. Break him down to the body to slow him down, Nery. Okay? Body shots, you know, like I said, this is a championship level, Joe. There's a series of things you got to do to win fights, okay? One of them, number one, is defense, okay? That's number one. And another way you break a guy down, good body punching always breaks a guy down going into the back half of the fight, and a good jab. That's one thing Brandon's got to do. He's got to establish his jab where it what do you call it? It starts busting up Nery, and what a good jab does, Joe? It prevents a guy from getting into rhythm. It prevents a guy from getting momentum. Okay, especially when he's coming at you and you keep popping him with that jab. Yeah, you know what I mean? The guy, that discourages a fighter, especially when his face starts getting fucked up and marked up as the rounds go on. But that's what Brandon, me personally, you know what I mean? He's got to box proficient. You know, to me, Joe, he's got to box proficiently when he needs to, but when he gets in the pocket, he's got to fight intelligently with good defense, okay, and put his combinations together, catch and countering in the pocket. And then you don't want to stand there with that motherfucker, okay? You want to circle him, okay? You know, you want to move around him, okay? Then get back on the outside, okay? Okay, once you get yours and you know, you're beating him in the pocket, whooping his ass. Then circle around him then take it back to distance and use that's when you use your length in your range to keep busting this juice motherfucker up, okay? All right, it's intelligence, Joe. You got to know when to fight in the pocket. You got to know when to take the fight out in the distance, okay? Now, at distance, he's more, you know, they say, you know, when you fight at range and distance, you know what I mean, it's more safer, okay? But when you get in the pocket, you're going to be in, you know, that right hook of Nery or that straight left hand. And, you know what I mean? You don't want to get in the slugfest with this motherfucker because it ain't going to last long, okay? All right? You want to, you know, you got to brawl intelligently when you got to. You got to take it on the outside when you got it, okay? You got to know when to do it, though. You know, inside, okay, pop. You know, okay. When Nery's trying to get some momentum, so you take it on the inside. You neutralize his forward attack. Then, you know, you bust his ass up. Then you take it back on the outside and bust him up some more. Okay? Yeah, that's what you got to do and everything. Just fight an intelligent fight where, you know, and make those adjustments. Okay? See, this is elite level now. Okay? This is not just about throwing punches. This is about, you know, knowing when to do the stuff. Knowing when to do the right things at the right times, okay? Making adjustments, okay? People talk about that. It's a cerebral sport, really, okay? Then, of course, you know, the balls and the toughness and the resilience and everything. Now, Nery, to win this fight, he's got to, you know, he's gonna want to, you know, of course, you know, Brandon's going to be moving and boxing, I think, early on. Then, you know, he's got to, like Canelo, he's got to find a way to close the distance intelligently without taking a lot of incoming from Brandon, okay? And Nery, I never see him move his head a lot, but, you know, him starts with his footwork, okay? You know, moving, you know, cutting out the ring, closing the distance, cutting them escape routes, you know, so Brandon can't get around him and all that. Then what's putting that hard jab in his face, okay? A good hard jab, good footwork, is part of your game plan when you're applying intelligent pressure. And keeping them hands up nice and high, nice and tight, the defense, okay? Then once he gets the range, okay, Nery, he's one of them guys, once he gets his range, he don't know what to do. He don't know what combinations to put together, okay? His big punches is a straight left hand, that straight right hook. Now, fighting a tall guy like Figueroa, okay, when he gets close, and if Brandon's in that right-handed position, if I was Nery, that straight left hand to the body. I keep on throwing that straight left hand to the body, then throwing the right hook back. That should be money. That straight left hand if Brandon's in that right-handed position from the outside and he gets that distance close, straight right hand to the body, right hook back. Okay, then come back with a straight left hand to the head. But that fucking guy, you know, he's a heavy, you know, from what I've seen him maybe one or two times. From what I've seen, he's heavy-handed. Okay, he's aggressive. Okay. He wants to get, he wants you to come towards him and get and engage because, hey, that just gives him the opportunity, you know, to let his hands go and then let that big left hand or that right hook go. And to me, Joe, that's what Nery has to do to win this fight. Just get him in exchanges and everything, and just keep applying that pressure on him if Brandon moves and if he gets in the pocket. You know, just land them big punches and everything because we're going to see how tough Figueroa is because this guy's he's a heavy puncher. That's going to be on the juice, okay? So we're going to see how tough this fucking Figueroa. I think he's a tough kid because he showed me he had some balls in that Seha fight, how he came back and battled back in the last round, okay, to pull out a draw. But this Nery is a different animal, okay? Undefeated world champion, been on the juice probably since he was 10 years old. What do you say, Joe? You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Old habits die hard, my friend. Look,
it's going to be a hell of a fight. But
for as long or as short as it lasts, you're absolutely right.
Hey, let me ask you this.
Rattle
I
off the
bet Nery's
tape.
my favorite. What, 3-1?
We got ahead of ourselves real quick. Let's rattle off the telever tape. Give you the dimensions of Luis Nery, right? Luis Nery Hernandez La Pantera comes into the ring at age 26. He fights out of the southpaw stance, already specified by Coach Gogue. He stands 5'6" tall in the center of the ring. Fights behind a 66-inch reach from Tijuana, Baja California, Mexico. He comes into the ring with a perfect record, 31 wins, 0 losses, 0 draws, 24 big wins by enhanced knockout. There's Luis Nery. Yeah. In my opinion, Gogue, and Brandon Figueroa, obviously he's made it to this level for a reason. And what you stated before, his intestinal fortitude, his toughness, his ability to take a good shot, and his heavy hands. But, in my opinion, this is going to be too much for him. His style is tailor-made for Luis Nery, in my opinion, Gogue. And in my opinion, Luis Nery is going to get him out of there. And credit to the kid, he's going to go some rounds because he's probably in good shape. Very tough kid. But I see Luis Nery stopping him in the 9th or the 10th round. That's my official prediction. But let's take a look. Very interesting.
What are the odds if he's on the juice and if he's not on the juice? Do they got odds like that, Joe?
Oh, that's come on, brother. You already know. Old habits die hard, my friend. That's all I'm going to say. Look, when you've gained success, look, it's kind of a dark secret in boxing, brother. Most of the elite level fighters, I'm sorry to say, are doing this, right? They're doing this.
Fuck. They're all on that shit.
They're all doing this.
Come on, a natural fighter nowadays. Oh, please, come on, give me a break.
Of course, man, they're all doing this.
I ain't fucking dumb.
Yep.
I'm not fucking dumb. I see with my eyes, all right?
That's right. Look, and the reason for this is because of the huge disparity. Boxing has always been a sport of the haves and the have-nots, right? You look at the disparity in pay. When you get to the elite level, your pay is substantially greater. So if these fighters are willing to take shots to the head for a paycheck, imagine what they're willing to do for much, much more. And that's the bottom line. If you can't understand that, then I don't know what else to say, sir.
Yeah.
So that's it, guys. But your official prediction for this weekend before you bid everyone a very excellent Sunday evening.
What is the odds, Joe? You never told me.
I'm looking, sir. They don't have them posted. There isn't a line. Let me look at the book, the MGM book here, see if they have it. Brandon Figueroa, this is an almost even money fight.
Oh, it is?
Yep. Luis Nery is a -210, and Brandon Figueroa is a very live +160.
That's like, yeah, that's almost even, yeah. I thought it was like 3-1 or whatever.
Money fight. In my opinion, Gogue, I don't agree with that, man. I think a lot of it has to do with Nery's most recent performance, in which he didn't look very good last fall, right, against Alameda. He won a unanimous decision, but he didn't look good, right?
I bet he wasn't on that shit then, huh?
I think it was the style matchup more. This guy was a real cutie pie, right?
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
He
won't have a problem with Brandon.
Terribly dreadful fight.
Yeah, like I said, Brandon has he has a chance to be a legitimate champion, okay? And he has the opportunity against this guy and everything, but can he be intelligent and make those adjustments, especially defensively? He can't be getting hit with the same punch all the time, the right hooks or the left hands. So eventually this guy's going to knock him out. I mean, I don't give a fuck how tough you are and this and that. When you're fighting a legit puncher like this guy who's on that shit, eventually all tough rocks eventually crack, all right? So, but Brandon, if he fights an intelligent, smart fight and, boxes him intelligent when he needs to from distance. But when the pocket gets in the when the fight gets into the pocket, if his defense is good and he puts his combinations together and he fights intelligently in the pocket, like blocking and countering, breaking him down with body shots, not standing there for a long time, pivoting around him and taking the fight back on the outside, and you know what I mean. It's got to be back and forth, Joe, and he's got to be intelligent enough to pick his moments, when to fight in the pocket, when to fight outside the pocket, or he's going to keep control of this guy, okay? He's going to have complete control of this guy. But if he makes it a one-dimensional fight and tries to overpower this guy and tries to outslug this guy, it ain't going to end nice. I mean, I love Brandon. I know the kid. He's a little kid, and I'm rooting for him to win, to tell you the truth.
Of course.
Fuck that other juice freak motherfucker, man. I hope Brandon knocks him the fuck
we'll see
out.
what happens, brother. In my opinion, this may be too soon for Brandon Figueroa.
Yeah, we'll see.
But we'll see. We'll see. Character always rises to the top when the moment requests it, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Brandon pulls it out. Yeah. It's all about Joe. It's all about preparation and intelligence. Fight night and preparation. That's gonna win the fucking fight. But it's intelligence and executing your game plan. That's gonna, what I mean. That's gonna solidify you in winning the fight. Where you get that, where he becomes champion of the world and everything. This is a legit fight now, Joe. This ain't no bullshit interim fight. This is
for the WBC Super Bantamweight title.
Marbles,
absolutely.
Baby.
So your opening bout of the evening this Saturday on Showtime Championship Boxing is going to be Xavier Martinez versus Abraham Montoya in the junior lightweight division at 130 pounds for 12 rounds. Good fight. Danny Roman in your co-main event, Danny Roman versus Ricardo Franco for 10 rounds in the 122-pound weight division as well. So you're going to see a very action-filled night of boxing on Showtime this Saturday night. Very good card. I tell you what, Gogue, all I have to say is this, and once again, we mentioned it last Sunday, but I really hope Showtime makes some money on this Floyd Mayweather fight card, this farce, this exhibition, because if this is the result and we get a full summer schedule of boxing, great fights, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. If we have to put up with this any longer just so it can fund all of the real fights, hey, man, I'm all for it. I hope these mainstream and casuals, I hope they support the hell out of this Floyd Mayweather fight. Thank you, Stephen Espinoza. And, guys, we look forward to an entire summer schedule of Showtime. Hey, I'm still waiting for the PBC schedule to be announced on Fox, brother. What's going on with that?
Ooh. Oh, call out.
For another discussion. So that's going to be it. Gogue, do you have any parting shots for our listening audience, sir?
No, May, let me tell you, it's going to be a great month for fights. They got fight also, what's that guy, Jose Ramirez and Josh Taylor for the undisputed junior welterweight championship for the world. And they got another fight going on, Devin Haney, against
versus
Linares.
Jorge Linares. Yep.
Yeah.
A lot of great action this month, and so I don't want to hear any more belly aching about the best not fighting the best, right, from boxing fans.
Yeah.
If you know better, guys, not everyone can be a superstar like Canelo, okay? Just enjoy the matchups when they're made on regular subscriber Showtime, Network Fox, or ESPN, guys, all right, or DAZN. Enjoy them while you can. I know real boxing fans will. So, Gogue, that's just going to about do it. Guys, on behalf of Mr. James Gogue, I'm Joseph Herron. You've been listening to War Week Radio. Have a great evening, everybody.